using any three prescribed texts, justify that there are some characters who can be emulated and other characters who can be despised in society. I want to remind candidates that this is a question that demands that there are characters whose behavior leave a positive impact on the society, but there are others whose behavior has nothing to be desired of. In Twilight of Misty Foliage, Cardinal Mpocheng is a character to be emulated because he is spiritual. He is hospitable. He is unmaterialistic and forgiving. It is his presence in the parish that opens the eyes of the Sambisans and the other Christians to see the lapses of Reverend Redbeggar and the consequences that they begin to boycott his sermons and church. He receives the hoodlums at the bishop's house in Liba, makes them comfortable, gives them food, and they have a beautiful conversation before they abduct him in the night to subject him to gruesome pain. He is unmaterialistic. He refuses to take the money that has been contributed for him, and instead he asks that that money should be used for developmental projects for the community. And despite the fact that it is proven that Reverend Rodberger is the mastermind behind his abduction, he forgives his attackers and Reverend Rodberger. His father, Pa Mpocheng, is also a character to be emulated. He is good-hearted and grateful. When Amy is unjustly imprisoned, when he goes to get the compensation that he had been promised by the chef de poste for the violation of his matrimonial bed by Inspector Evie, he's arrested, charged with seizing a uniformed officer and using violence with the intention to commit armed robbery, and an expedient case is levied against him, and he's in prison for 15 years. Mpocheng does everything that he can to get his brother out of the place, but he does not succeed, and inherits all his responsibility to take care of his children and do other things on his behalf. When one of the villagers picks up a document in the old council building, which clearly shows that there had been some conspiracy between Sergeant elites and administrators to strip Stambis of the administrative seat, Pa Mpocheng hands over 1,000 francs note to the old man as compensation. Nevertheless, there are many characters whose behavior makes us to despise them. Sister Bapi at the treasury is supposed to hand over the money to Cardinal Mpocheng, but she is corrupt and hypocritical. She makes sure that some banknotes are missing from the bundles of the banknotes in the middle, amounting to 2 million. Had it been that the cardinal had not been meticulous and cautious to count all of the banknotes or the bundles, he would have been indicted for for embezzling 2 million. Ironically, when he discovers and hands over the bundles that have misplaced banknotes, they are immediately replaced, highlighting corruption. Conan is a womanizer. He has women all over the village and does not give food money to his wife. And his wife decides to starve him of food. Even while he comes back and the family is feeding, not even the wife nor the children invite him to join them. And at the same time, some of his mistresses also refuse to give him food, forcing him to steal from his wife's spot at night in the kitchen. And he is caught and disgraced, giving him the name Professor Okra. Inspector Evie is an example of a bad civil servant or public figure or law enforcement officer. He terrorizes the women in the village. He's a womanizer, and he sleeps with Emma's wife on his matrimonial bed. And when caught, he's only saved by the chef, the post. Reverend Rothberger is the devil incarnate. He's immoral. He's a typical womanizer. And in all the parishes where he had worked, the reverend sisters are afraid to be in his presence alone. He has so many women. He has 4 carbon print children from 4 different women. When he visits one of the parishioners, he concentrates a decade. He concentrates on her buttocks and on her breast, making the woman to feel uncomfortable. He's very materialistic, and everything to him is about money. And when he's assigned for the new consultation between Sambis and Sajeb, he has already laid down a plan on how he is going to get a good chunk of that money. He and Sergeant elites use their corrupt means to work in connivance with the administration to deprive Sambis of the administrative seat, to deprive children of Sambis from quality education through doctrinal notes which are sent without any explanation. And the exam is written based on the syllabus taught in Sajeb. Children from Sambis are refused to handle important posts in the church. And the consequence is that Sambis rebels. And during the consultation, they had already made an well-oiled plan to include non-Sambisans in their delegation so that the discussion can be tilted in favor of Sajeb. But this is discovered, and the other camp refuses their participation in the talks. They also make the people to sign for 50,000 francs, whereas the cash-out prize money is 500,000 francs, and the rest of the money go to them. And lastly, he is jealous of Cardinal Pochueng and evil-minded, that he contracts the services of Dracula, Rasputin, to eliminate the cardinal and throw his body into the sea so that he cannot be given a befitting burial. Dracula and his gang are characters who are very evil-minded, inhumane, hypocritical. They visit the bishop's house claiming to be good people, and even making the cardinal to understand that he would have had Greetings from Reverend Rod Baker. If he had known that they were coming, whereas they had been sent by him. And despite all the kindness shown to them, they abduct him at night and subject him to the worst pain imaginable. Luckily, the cardinal survives. In the swamp dwellers, there are some characters who are worth to be emulated, like the Mercuries. This is a loving family. They love their children. Alu cares about the welfare of Awuchike, even though he does not send anything. She wants to know whether her son is alive or not. And she's more worried when Igwezu has not yet returned from his farm, despite the assurances from Makuri that the boy knows his way around and that he will come, or that he's somewhere with his friends. They are very hospitable. They receive the blind beggar. They wash his legs. They make him feel comfortable and accept him as part of their household. And at the end, he will be Igwezu's bondsman. Igwezu is a character worth to be emulated because he is hard working. Before he leaves for the city, he works and plants crops on his farm. He's also responsible. He gets married to his wife, decides to take her to the city. Before he leaves, he promises his father that he will send for him a new swivel chair, which he does immediately he reaches the city. But he meets with disappointment and comes back home, frustrated. He is courageous. His frustration leads him to challenge the Kadiye with searching questions to expose his fraudulent nature and corrupt. He makes him to understand that he is a fraud, leading him to run for his life. The blind beggar is also a character that is supposed to be emulated because he is determined. The drought and the locust does not weaken his devout and strong will to lead a responsible life. He does not want to beg. He decides to follow the river south, where he can cultivate the wetland with his hands. He's innovative. He proposes land reclamation to make the land more profitable, even though it is met with stiff challenges from Makuri, who consider such suggestion as sacrilegious. He is foresighted. Though blind, he can detect from the Kadiye's voice that he is bulky and well-fed. And it is this insight that he gives to Igwezu that leads Igwezu to question the Kadiye. Other characters can be despised, such as Awuchike. He's irresponsible. Though he has made money, he has abandoned his family. He does not care about his brother, his twin brother. He's full of ingratitude, materialistic. The money which he has made as a timber merchant has blinded and made him cold towards his blood relationship. He uses his money to seduce his brother's wife and take him away, making his brother feel uncomfortable. He's hypocritical. Desala is a woman to be despised because she claims to love her husband. But when her husband takes her to the city, she is easily convinced by her brother-in-law's wealth and destroys and goes against her marital vows. The Kadiye is very corrupt, hypocritical. He uses the naivety of the villagers and the community who believe in his infallibility to exploit them of bulls, goats, grain, and he feeds fat, while the other people suffer. And Igwezu wants to understand, if he had not given the sacrifice demanded, and why is it that despite giving all the sacrifices, he had not gotten the protection that he had sought for? In unanswered cries, Olabisi is a character to be emulated because of her determination not to be circumcised. She runs into the forest, fights against the Bondo women in the Bondo camp, is able to twist Pamadu's mind to help her to escape to Freetown. And she's ready to go to undergo the ordeal in court in order to have a favorable judgment. Ade Jones is protective and caring. When Makalai arrives Freetown wanting to take Olabisi back home, he stands firm that his daughter cannot be subjected to such a senseless and painful experience, and decides to take the matter in court, and for which he gets a favorable judgment. Oya is a character to be emulated because of her loving nature. She loves Ade Jones. Despite his infidelity, all she wants from him is to be committed in their relationship and threatens to leave. She's firm, leading Ade Jones to propose. And later on, they get married. But above all is her loving nature to Olabisi, whose case she takes head on in court and gives her the verdict that she needs. But there are other characters to be despised, like Makalai, who is very superstitious. It's because of her superstition that she wants to do everything to bring Makalai to the Bondo camp so that she can be circumcised because of the threat from Yapose on her pregnancy. She is violent and insultive. She violates Olabisi's privacy by finding out that she's no longer a virgin. She slaps her and yanks her all the time. She insults her of being a boka and insults her father, whom he calls a skirt chaser and an irresponsible father. Olabisi can also be despised for being deceitful, of pretending to be a virgin, whereas she has been having sexual intercourse with Ediko. This is proven in court, and her mother in the village had made her to understand that she had found out that she is no longer a virgin. Pamado is corrupt and receives bribe from Olabisi, despite the promises made to him by Makalai of a handsome gift if he brings Olabisi to her so she can take her to the Bondo camp. Olabisi is able to corrupt him, and he helps Olabisi to escape to Freetown. Ade Jones can be despised for being a womanizer. Oya complains that he has relationship with many girls and specifically pinpoints Yamide. He is irresponsible because he does not take proper care of Olabisi, trying to put her in the right way. And we can say that Olabisi's early contact with men could be because of the manner in which she sees her father's lifestyle. He is also irresponsible because he has not been taking care of the responsibilities of the house, which has been under Oya for the past month. In The Old Man and the Sea, Santiago can be emulated for his endurance, especially in the hand game in Casablanca, where against odds he had fought against the Negro, winning the hand game that had earned him the title El Campeon. He's full of determination, and his experience as a fisherman as seen in his fight against the Marlin at sea. Manolin is a character to be emulated because of his love for Santiago. He carries his fish equipment despite the fact that they don't fish together. He looks for bait for him. He provides him food and drinks and keeps company with him. And also weeps after his return from the sea because he sees him in an exhausted and pitiable state. We also have respect for Martin and Perico for their loving nature. They provide Santiago with newspaper and food. But nevertheless, there are characters who are supposed to be despised, like Manorin's parents, who are materialistic and superstitious. They want their child to fish with a lucky fishing boat so that their son can make money. And also, lastly, we can despise the younger fishermen because of their lack of human feelings. They don't care about the situation which Santiago is going through, but yet they mock at him because he goes to sea and comes back home empty-handed. instead of comforting him.